Hello and welcome to this new episode of Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers podcast. Today, I want to do a version 2 of an episode I did at the very, very start of this podcast, which was titled, "This Healing Doesn't Work. Am I Broken?" And that was a really important episode back then because for many of us, for daughters of narcissistic mothers, that is a reality. We try so many different modalities. I have clients that have come to me and they've tried just about everything that's out there. Almost. Almost everything. And that was my case too, of course. And it's not that it doesn't work. It kind of works. The things that they've tried kind of work. They kind of work for a little while. Or they work to a degree. But they don't work fully. And so today I want to do this version 2 because, well, that was like 3 years ago now that I've done that episode. And in the meantime, I've learned even more because I keep searching for systems that work even better. I keep constantly upgrading and updating what I'm working with so that when you're coming to me or when you're listening to this podcast, you're getting the best that I have found so far. And I use it first. I experiment with it. I try the new things that I find. And what doesn't work, doesn't work. But what works, what remains, which is what works, I'm sure it does work. So that's just to give you a little bit of context to this. So at the time I was speaking to the fact that as daughters of narcissistic mothers, as children of narcissistic parents, that as children who have been through abuse and who have grown up in an environment that was emotionally and often also physically unsafe, we need a type of support that has that into consideration. So the whole thing of you just have to reset your thinking, you just have to change your behaviors that are not helping you and stuff like that that's used in therapy, in positive mindset and all of that doesn't actually work because we've been through some stuff and we've got patterns in the nervous system. And so those things don't work. And actually what happens, and if you've been through these experiences like I have in the past, you know how it feels. It only adds to the shame we feel inside. It only adds to the feeling of brokenness because we're looking at all these professionals that are giving us these things to do, or they're making it sound so simple, and it's not working. And it's not working for us. And so we're like, I remember questioning, God, I must be really broken, because I had gotten to a point that when I was going to a session with someone or a class, I was not even asking questions anymore because I felt that I was the only one that felt that way. I felt that the questions I was going to ask were only going to underline how broken I was, that these teachers or professionals, they were just going to look at me and go, God, girl, like this stuff works for everyone. What's wrong with you? And I've actually been told this outright by some not so professionals. I've had an experience in therapy many years ago at this point where I was actually told straight, very directly, you're hopeless. Like, you're never going to heal. You are just a mess and you will be a mess for the rest of your life. So as you can imagine, that was not a very good experience. So where I'm going with this is there are a lot of ways we can go at this work. And our beautiful nervous system is going to let us know that certain things don't really work for us by not going there, by not wanting to go there. So this episode, I'm aiming it particularly for those of you who, like me in the past, have tried everything. And maybe also to those of you that are beginning, because I know from the assessment that if you haven't yet completed, by the way, your coping pattern assessment is free. It takes less than 3 minutes, is in the link in the description. So go and do that. It's a really super helpful thing to know what is your coping pattern. It's such a step on your healing journey. But reading your answers in the assessment, a lot of people are saying that they're starting on this journey. They're beginning to understand some aspects of this healing, and they're at the very beginning. So this episode is for you too, because if we can spare you the suffering of trying a million different things that don't work before you get to the one that actually works, well, then I've done something good today with this episode. So for those of you who have tried everything, this episode is definitely for you. But for those of you who are beginning this journey, well, why not? I mean, start with the stuff that works straight away. So I started this work when I was about 18, and I am 41 at this point. So I've done a good bit of it, and I've tried a lot of different modalities. And I have learned and learned and learned so much. I could talk just about anything. And there's value in that. So for those of you who are like, well, I've read a million books on narcissism, and I do listen to 10 different podcasts every week. And there's value in that. I mean, learning, it's a good thing. What we forget though, in this process of learning, and then of going to therapy and talking, and please, if you're a therapist listening to this, I mean, I am not generalizing. I've met wonderful therapists, so I don't have any bias on that. It's purely a thing of modalities. This type of wounds, the trauma that we carry, like this is true for trauma in general anyways. Now I'm talking about daughters of narcissistic mothers today, but trauma is a thing that cannot be healed by talking about it. It cannot. We can talk and talk and talk about it forever. We can keep talking forever. If you're coming to me doing the one-on-one, you'll know. If you've done the one-on-one program with me and you're still listening to the podcast today, you're probably smiling because you know that when you were in front of me and you wanted to just talk, I was like, okay, let's stop talking for a moment and let's drop in. Get into your body. What are you feeling right now? Oh, well, no one's ever asked me this before. I'm sure they haven't. And that's why you're sitting in front of me today. Because that is where the answers are. That is where the healing is. You see, when we're talking and learning and studying and talking some more, we are using our beautiful and wonderful brains. We're using our rational mind. And if you look at yourself in the mirror for a moment, I don't know if I have my mirror here in the room where I am. Your rational mind, it's like you can sort of look at your forehead, the top of your head. That's about it, right? There's another 90% of body that's underneath that. So if you just go down, there's your eyes, your face, your neck, your chest, your belly. There's so much going on in that belly. How many of you have any type of digestive issues? Any type of food intolerances, anything that's going on in the digestive department, yeah? There is so much going on. There's so much emotion that we store in our bellies. Then if you're a woman, you're going down, there's your womb. Ooh, there's another pocket of stuff. We store a ton in there. But this is for everyone. Your hip, your pelvic area, that's a really, really key part. So much trauma is stored in there. And then your legs, how many times when something happens, when you get really triggered, you feel your legs are just wobbly, or I feel like they're disappearing from under me and I need to sit down, or they feel fidgety. How many of you just bounce their legs all the time? That was like, I was a professional at that. I could bounce it so fast. You wouldn't believe it. So, and then there's your feet. Your feet. And you're probably thinking, oh, do I have feet? I haven't felt my feet in like maybe ever, like actually ever. Let's be honest. Ever. Who actually wants to spend time in their feet? Well, who does it? I'm not even saying about wanting, because do we even get to want to spend time in our feet if we don't even know what that means? So all of this body, and I haven't talked about the arms, the hands. I just went straight down and I didn't go laterally. So you see, there's so much body. There's so much body. And in these tissues, this is not woohoo, like this is trauma science. There are doctors and scientists and amazing people that are researching this constantly, and so much we still need to learn about this system, but so much we know already. That our body stores the memories of the experiences that we have and we've had as children. And it doesn't store them as memories like, oh, I remember that day my mother brought me to get ice cream and this happened. That's an explicit memory, and yes, we have those. But our body stores implicit memories, which are memories of experiences that we don't actually have memories in the terms of what we understand a memory to be, but our body remembers the danger, remembers the pain we went through when something happened that brought that reaction. So anytime that we get it triggered, anytime that a situation happens that somehow, some way resembles what had happened in that implicit memory, that system gets activated and goes, whoo, stress, freeze, overwhelm, crazy emotions, crazy reactions. And all of that is happening in your body, and other people that don't understand this, don't understand that you've had these experiences, that don't understand what trauma is about, they're looking at you thinking, oh, you're overreacting. You're a little bit too sensitive. You're crazy. Or you're broken. I mean, I've been told all of those many times, and I know many of you have, because this is something I hear from clients all the time. They think I'm too sensitive. They tell me I'm broken. They tell me I'm too much. They tell me I overreact all the time. They tell me I should brush it under the carpet and just keep going with my life. But you're none of those things. You're not broken. You're not overreacting. You're not too sensitive. You are a beautiful human being that has motorways of patterns that get activated in your nervous system because of the experiences you've been through. And the thing is, we can talk about those experiences, but the implicit memories we cannot talk about because we don't know them. I can't talk about something I can't remember. Some of the stuff that has come up for me in this work in the last couple of years as I went into this trauma work deeper and into the body deeper, because I had to. You see, we end up doing this when we have to, and not all of us do, but because sometimes, yet again, we don't make the connection. I had to because my body just went, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not supporting you working yourself into the ground and rationalizing everything and pretending you've got it all sorted, when I know, my body knew, this is not the case. There's another level here that you need to go to. And so my body just decided to not, well, I'm going to say to not cooperate because that's how it felt, but that's not true. Actually, when you're getting symptoms, your body is really screaming at you. It's actually the highest form, it's the highest ally that we have, because our body is not going to lie to us. It's going to tell us exactly where we are. So if you're experiencing inflammation, if you're experiencing autoimmunity, if you're experiencing symptoms of, there's so many different ones, and I'm not going to make a list of that, but if your body is not feeling healthy, there's something there that's undealt in your system. And of course, this is not to say that there isn't a biology piece that we need to go work with. Like I've worked with amazing people that have given me amazing supplements and amazing stuff that's actually really helping. And thankfully the trend is up. But without the other piece, without going into the body and from the trauma perspective, actually start working with those implicit memories and really understand your patterns and really work with the parts that are activating those patterns all the time, we're not actually really healing. The body's gonna tell you, And in this, you could be one of those, like again, I was like, my diet was super healthy. Being a herbalist for years, I was taking all sorts of beautiful foods and things. I've eliminated plastic. I've done all the things. I was exercising all the time. And yet, my body was like, no, woman, I'm gonna give you 10 out of 10 pain in every part of your body without a reason, apparently. Of course, my body had very good reasons, but without an apparent reason. I'm gonna make your belly feel constantly in pain. I'm gonna do all these things. I'm gonna make you stop sleeping at night, and I'm gonna make you panicky, and I'm gonna do all these things. And again, I'm not going to make a full list, but a lot. It was a lot. So the body's going to let you know. And that was the bit that for me was like, okay, there has to be a layer deeper. Clearly, I'm missing something here. And that was going into the body. That was that part. That was that piece. So when you're there going, all this healing, and I'm doing all these types of therapies, and I'm doing this, and I'm looking that way, and I'm thinking this way, and I'm doing affirmations, and I'm journaling all the time, and I've been in therapy for 20 years, and you're still anxious, and you're still feeling depressed, and you're still self-sabotaging, and you're still not sleeping at night, and the panic attacks are getting worse. And the guilt is eating you alive. Those are patterns that come from implicit memories, that come from parts in you that are still very, very young and that have never felt safe. They've never felt supported. Not by your mother. Of course, in the past, that's who did that. You know, it was your mother that didn't make you feel safe and supported when you were a baby, when you were a small child, when you were a toddler, of course. But now, it's not your mother that's meant to do that for you. She's not going to change, we know that. She's not going to all of a sudden become like this loving, nurturing mother. And you're not 5 anymore anyways. What you're needing now, what those parts of you need now is you. It's you to be on board. It's you to actually go, stop, I'm not going to abandon you anymore. I know you felt abandoned, you felt rejected, you felt unloved. But I'm not going to do this to you anymore. I am now going to choose to be with you and hold you and make you feel safe and make you feel seen. And I'm getting a deep breath at that, just saying that, because that is the thing. That is where the healing actually happens. And I'm making it sound really simple here, because of course I'm just giving you the general idea of what this healing work is about. It's that there's fine tuning, there's attunement, there's guidance to be had in this. It doesn't just happen. But it is the most effective way of healing the wounds. And the reason why I'm saying this with such confidence is because, as I said, I've tried everything. I've been working with countless clients that have tried everything, or so they felt like they had. And I have seen these same people, the same way as I've experienced it myself, going through an immense transformation in the space of just a couple of sessions. That's why my one-on-one program is 10 sessions. Now you can, of course, there's no limits to how deep you can go with this work, and you can keep expanding and growing no matter, you could do 1,000,000 sessions and and still find more room to expand, because such is our nature. But it's immense transformation. And I've experienced it myself. It's like there's times when it's like one part, I become aware of a part, and I start talking to this part and making this part feel heard. I listen to this part, and it's like, whoa. And then that pattern just doesn't need to be there anymore, because that part now feels safe. She felt heard. She felt seen and understood, and she doesn't need to throw up a fuss of anxiety every time that a similar situation happens, because she now knows that she's not alone, that I'm there. I'm an adult and I'm there, and I'm going to take care of her. So that is really the work. And the question that I have for you is, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? And I know you could answer, but I don't have money, but I don't have time, but I don't know if I'm good enough to do this work. And they're all valid points. Like, I've brought all of those things for years when I was trying to figure out how to fix myself. That was my main that was my approach. I was always trying to fix something broken, and then I realized that there was nothing broken, nothing to fix, and a lot of healing happened then. But yet guidance was essential, because I couldn't get into the body, into those implicit memories. I didn't know. There was no pathway for me to get there. That had been closed a long, long time ago. Actually, that had been closed. I've done work recently that allowed me to discover that was closed pretty much at birth. Like, it was just, my system was like, whoa, this place is unsafe. Let's close it all up and let's learn to survive a different way. And I know that that's the experiences that many of us have had, although we don't even remember, of course, explicitly. So what are you waiting for remains the question, because yes, maybe you need to find the money to do this work. Maybe you need to find the time to do this work. Maybe you're afraid you're not good enough, or maybe you haven't found the right person to do this work with yet. Those are all very valid points. But what's going past you is your life. And I'm not being unkind by putting it this way. I'm saying it this way because I have nothing but love for you. Nothing but love for you. There's nothing actually that gives me, I don't want to say gives me more grief, because there's plenty of stuff that gives me grief in the world. But when I'm in this work, something that actually just, I need to do a lot of work for my nervous system afterwards. It's like when someone goes, you know what, I'm not going to do this right now. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, I mean, what else would you be doing? This is the most important work. Because, oh, but I need to focus on my own job, or I need to focus on my mother because a lot of us don't do this work because we need to focus on our mothers. Interestingly enough, because we're so conditioned, and I've been like that for ages. I always was focusing on my mother, on my grandmother, and my health was going downhill, and my life was going to crap, and my relationship with my husband and my children was horrible, and yet I was still prioritizing them, as in my granny and my mother, over me and over my own life. So I know really well how that feels, and that's why it pains me. That's why I'm like, whoa, why not? Why not now? And I know we're all on different paths. There's no judgment. There's genuinely no judgment. There's just love. It's the love of, if you only knew what you're putting off. You know that feeling, and some of us know. I know when I'm talking to clients, some of you have had moments, glimpses of joy, glimpses of feeling yourself. You know, moments where, and I've, for many, many years, I didn't even know what that feeling was until I actually had one of those glimpses. I still remember it. It was such a moment. I was in my kitchen cooking, nothing crazy. If you probably heard me saying this before, it was just a very mundane moment. And in that moment, I felt at peace. I felt like really just at one with myself. It was just a fleeting moment, but I was like, whoa, that feeling's new. And most of all, oh, that feeling is available, because if I felt it once, then that can come again. How do I bring it back? You know, how do I bring it back? And that's what got me into all of this deeper and deeper, because it's like that was just juicy. I mean, that's how life's supposed to be, not this clusterfuck of really intense, painful things that I'm feeling all the time, but that glimpse of feeling content, feeling at peace, feeling me, feeling I was myself, not second guessing. There was no guilt, there was no anxiety. It was just me. And I know many of you have had glimpses, small moments, fleeting moments of that feeling, okay? That is what you're putting off. That is what you're putting off. When you're going, not today, you know what, I'm not going to reach out. And it doesn't have to be me. Of course, if it's me, well, I'm here to support you, and I'll be honored and delighted to do this work with you. But it doesn't have to be me. I mean, there's other people that do this work. But when you're not reaching out, that's what you're putting off. It's like you're in the desert, you are dying of thirst, and someone has some lovely, lovely, clean, pure water, and you're like, no thanks, you know what, I don't think I'm good enough to drink that water. Now, you know what, I don't think I can afford it, but I haven't even told you yet, but you know what, I don't think I can organize myself to take a sip of that. That is really what we do to ourselves. And again, I'm going to say this for that part of you that's getting triggered and that just wants to tell me to F right off. I am not saying this with judgment, because I have been that person for a long, long, long time. I would put my mother in front of me, my grandmother in front of me, everyone else in front of me. And when someone said, oh, but you have to invest this money on yourself for your own happiness, I'd be like allergic to it. No, I can't do that. That's way too much money. I can't do that. That's way too much time. on me. That was the part I wasn't saying, but I was thinking it. So there is no judgment. But from a person that has been through that and that is now experiencing the immense capacity of this healing and what it really means to actually be free from those patterns, free from second guessing, free. I'm not saying anxiety free. I mean, life brings anxiety sometimes, but able to work with it in a way that is like, oh, it's just a moment. Oh, I got a bit of anxiety in my stomach. Let me do this couple of things that I know I can do now. And oh, that's gone. Right. I'm back to my normal self. That's actually possible. That is possible. Oh, my mother has made some drama because that's what she does. And it's possible to go, she's a funny woman, but no, thank you. I'm not going there with you because I now know that those were patterns in my nervous system. It was actually nothing she was doing. They were patterns in my nervous system. And once I worked with those, she can do whatever. I mean, that's her life. I still love her, but I don't need to go down there with her. Even if I have to interact, and I'm not talking just about going no contact, you can interact with your mother and not being dragged into the drama all the time, not having her running your life anymore from the inside, because it's not actually her running your life, it's your patterns. And that's amazing, because if it was her running your life, of course you'd feel hopeless. I mean, you can't control her and you know she's not going to change. But if it's you and your patterns, as in not you, but your patterns, then there's tons you can do. So that's my question again, is like, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? There is no comparison between the life before and the life after. I have actually one testimonial on the platform that literally, this wonderful woman I worked with, she, in the testimonial she wrote, it feels like my life there was the before and after the program. And they're two different lives. And it really warms my heart when I read those words again and again, because it is like that. It was the same for me. It was the same for me. I know to my mentor, I owe that much. I'm like, oh, there's a life before I did this work. Whoa, that was crazy that I even stayed that long in that life. And then there's a life after. And it's like, wow, that's a different life. And it's possible. And when I was in the life before, I didn't think that that was possible. I couldn't even imagine. But now that I'm in the life after, I'm looking at the life before going, how was I living that way? Really? Why would I do that to myself? So that's my question today for you. I actually genuinely, this is not a rhetorical question, it's for you to go and feel into that. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Because this is the beginning of the work. You start coming in contact with parts that are like, ooh, I'm not worthy of taking time to myself. I am not good enough. I feel like I'm not good enough. I'm afraid I could fail. I'm afraid that if this thing didn't work, then what? I'd be really hopeless. Or maybe I'm afraid it would change my relationships. What if I've met, and I know I've had that fear too. It's like, what if I do this work and I heal and then my current life doesn't suit me anymore? And this is part of the work. When you start identifying those parts that are like pulling the handbrake for you, and then you know where you need to work. you start. The trick is to understand that that's just a part of you. That's not actually you. So anything that comes up, treat it with a lot of kindness, always with love and kindness, because that's not you. That's just a part. And if that part is there, it's for good reasons. She's been through a lot. And you know that. So be very kind. But that is the beginning of the work. When you ask yourself, what am I waiting for to do this work? What am I waiting for? Do I need to get to the point that I have pains in my body, that my body is giving me all sorts of symptoms? Do I need to get to the point where my life is completely gone to complete crap? And the interesting thing is sometimes, and I get that a lot, even then we don't do it because these parts are really, 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 really pulling the handbrake up. So I think that's enough for today. I invite you to take the coping pattern assessment if you haven't yet. It's in the description and it's free and it takes less than 3 minutes and it's going to be a powerful step. And you may also ask yourself, what am I waiting for? And see what comes up. Listen to those parts. See what they have to say. Start this game of interacting with the parts of you that are holding you back. And yeah, let me know what comes up. You can share it in the comments. You can always send me an email, matilda@womenreclaimingtheirfullness.me. Share with me what parts are holding you back. And with that, I am sending you lots and lots of love. Bye for now.